Beautiful, Becky!
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Stringing Together with me, Becky, coming to you from Frankfurt, Germany. Yeah, if you've watched before, thanks so much for coming back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome and hello. It's been quite a while since I recorded. I think I haven't recorded since May or June, maybe. And today's August 7th, I believe. So it's been a little while. But that's just how summer is, I think. I haven't been doing that much knitting, and yeah. But I do have quite a bit to share with you today. But before I do that, if you want to find me on social media, you can do so. I'm putting it up on the screen. Mainly active on Instagram and Ravelry as Soprano Knits, and you can find my designs as well over on Ravelry. That will all be linked below as well. Yeah, I think that's basically it. As far as designing goes, I will mention that there are still a couple of kits available for the After the Rain socks. Thank you for those of you who already purchased a kit. That was really fun collaboration with Hannah, the Quarter of Craft, and Gabby of Once Upon a Corgi, and those are available in her shop as well. And then one of my sock patterns called Reason, which was in the Making Stories Socks 2018 collection, is now available as an individual pattern as well. So that is all I have to announce in that realm. So yeah, it's good to be back with you guys as usual. Feels kind of weird after a long hiatus, but onward. I am wearing something that I sewed, which you might remember from the last episode, but I will talk about that a little bit later in sewing. I'll talk about knitting first. I have finished a couple things that I'm not going to show, like a pair of socks and then also a sample for a publication, which I don't have anyway. But I have finished 2 sweaters, which is very exciting. And the first one, again, I'm going to give you kind of a preview, but I can't really show it yet. I'm going to show you that. It's a little corner of it folded up. So this was a beta knit that I did for the Fiber Company for their new Borrowdale collection that's coming out. Should come out in September sometime next month. Keep track of the Fiber Co. on social media, and I'll post about it as well when it comes out. But this is in their new base Lodor. No, I'm sorry. Lodor is the pattern, and Lore is the yarn. And it was an amazing yarn to work with. I loved it a lot. So again, I can't really talk about it too much right now because part of the agreement was that I don't show the finished object until the collection is released. But there's your little sneak preview. So I will bring it back and I'll talk more about it at length after the release so you guys can hear about it. I really enjoy knitting it. And I can't wait to wear it, but we've been having an insane heat wave here in Europe. Woo, it's been crazy. I mean, for the past 2 weeks it has not let up at all. It has been over 30 degrees, pushing 35, so that's like 90 to 95 kind of range every single day. And we don't have air conditioning here. Most places in Germany don't have air conditioning, and when they do, they keep it really, really low. So it's been hard to get relief. So even just knitting or sewing, honestly, in this weather, because you have to have the iron on, no. Just no. It has not been something that I wanted to do very much. But I mean, I've done a bit. So moving on, then my tambourine cardigan is also finished. And this one is blocked. I haven't blocked the other one yet, but this is finished and blocked. And I am so thrilled with how it turned out. Yeah, and I finished it and brought it to Chicago with me. And I'm so glad I did, because the plane was freezing, and being in air conditioning, I stayed with some friends and also my parents, and just being around air conditioning again was like a shock. So I wore this actually a lot inside. So I was really happy. Okay, well, I'll put it on. I'll put it on. It's very warm. I won't leave it on for long. But I knit this out of Laxton's Limited BFL Masham blend, which is a DK blend. Oh my god, I love it. Kind of stand up so you can see the, I have to awkwardly like squat. So you can see it there. So it's a little bit cropped, but I didn't want to do it too cropped. So like my waist is here. Yeah. And I bought this yarn at EYF last year because they were selling at EYF. They were not there again this year, which was sad, because I believe that when they vend around the UK, they sell their yarn to us normal folks at their wholesale prices. I'm doing the buttons wrong. Doing the buttons wrong. So it was super cheap. And honestly, this is like, I have to say, one of my favorite yarns that I've probably ever worked with. And it's just so beautiful. It's undyed, of course, but it's got this beautiful halo on it, and it's so soft, and I adore it so much. It's woolly, but soft, and amazing. So yeah, the only modification that I did was the pattern calls for you to sort of knit the button band as you're knitting the body. And there were tons of comments that it would never lay flat, it rolled in, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to be able to wear it open and closed, so I just omitted those stitches. So I had a few less stitches in the body, and then I picked up button bands afterwards. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. They're still pretty small button bands, but I like the look of it. I don't like picking up for button bands, but I think that little extra effort was definitely worth it in the end. And I found these little coconut, I think they're out of coconut, or coconut wood or something. I don't know, I forgot. These buttons just at a store here in Frankfurt, and oh, I'm so thrilled with it. This is my first time doing a set-in sleeve, and this is a game changer for me for cardigans. Raglan cardigans do not fit me. They fall off my shoulders when it's open all the time. And plus they usually ride down in the back, and this one comes up perfectly on my neck. It's great. I did have problems seaming it in though. It just kind of seemed like it wasn't going to fit, but I brought it to knit night, and it was like the day before I went to Chicago, or 2 days before, and I was getting so frustrated. And I will be honest, my friend Virginia did it for me. I mean, I started it, and then she seamed so many sweaters, and I've seamed 0 sweaters, and I was just making it look like a hot mess, and she just did it for me. And they gave it to me the next day. So, okay, my card ran out of space, but I think I was just thanking Virginia for helping me to seam these. Next time I'll do it myself, I promise. But yeah, I cannot wear that anymore, but it makes me excited for fall, because I just think it's going to be the perfect wardrobe staple cardigan. It just looks awesome, and I'm super happy. Oh, and this is a pattern this is the tambourine cardigan, did I even say that? By Julia Farwell Clay, and it's from one of the pom-pom issues. I don't remember which one, but yeah, love it, love it, love it. Good. So that is my only like other big finished object. I do have a half-finished object that is a design. So I have been working on a sock design, took a major hiatus from it, came back to it, and I finished the first sock, and here it is. So this is out of Retrosaria Mondim in the colorway, hang on, I have it. Oops, just dropped another project. So here's the tag. I love their tags. And this is colorway 208. I haven't cast the second one on yet, but here it is in the ball. And then here it is knit up. So yeah, so I got this when I was in Lisbon in Portugal back in February, and I wanted to design some socks that were kind of inspired by Portugal. So I did. And up here is, if you guys, you might remember from a long time ago, my Instagram stories, I was sharing like all of these different ways that I was trying to make a little picot edge at the top that didn't look like a hot mess. And I finally found a way. So it has this picot edging, and the reason I wanted to do that was for all like the terracotta roofs there. And then I have this pattern here, which to me is evocative of like the tiles and the buildings everywhere. And also these colors just felt like colors that I saw all over Portugal, and yeah. So let me pull this off here, because maybe I can also show it this way. So yeah, it has it going along around here, and some ribbing in the back because it's a pretty tight stitch pattern. So I did it originally and couldn't get my foot in it at all. So I had to rip it out and then find a way to add some more stretch. And then I have it also going across the top of the toe. If you can see that, I have no idea. The screen's really far away. Yeah, and I did my new depths heel. And with this yarn it was kind of cool because it's sort of, if you can tell, a micro stripe. And then on the heel it did like a different kind of striping that went with the short rows kind of. So I think it looks really awesome. The cats are making weird noises. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, so the first one is done. So I just need to write up the pattern and start knitting the second one. And probably once I get the pattern written up, I will, well, definitely, I will put out a call for test knitters. If you are interested in being on my test knitting list, either for these socks or for future designs, you can sign up for my newsletter, which I will put in a link to in the down bar. And there's a box that you can check there. You can sign up for my newsletter anyway, if you just want to keep up with like design news and stuff. And then you can click a box that says like, yes, I want to be informed about test knits, and I will send you an email every time a test knit is open. So if you're on that list, you don't have to test knit, of course. You can choose, but then you'll be sure to get it, because I just found that Instagram is a bad way. Things get lost on there, not everyone sees the posts. So I think email is a way easier way to do that. So yeah. So that is leading me into works in progress. I do have another design work in progress at the moment that I've been working on. And I think I will show it. I think you can't tell what's going to happen really from what I'm showing you. But I am really excited about this, and I'm hoping it works out. It should work out. I knit a mini version of it, but again, this was just a design that eluded me for a while. It's a totally different shawl construction that I've never seen before, and it has taken some figuring out and some like engineering to accomplish. But I'm knitting this out of Knitcraft and Knittery in these two colors. This is the fingering weight. What is this base called? I don't know. Just says 100 grams fingering weight. Oh, sustainable Australian merino wool. It's amazing. And this is hazelnut gelato, and this is the naked truth. So it's kind of a natural. And I love them together. And I am designing a shawl with them. And kind of looks, sorry, it's a little tangled. Looks a little crazy right now, but this is what I have. So yeah, that's it. Looks pretty simple right now, and it is simple. I mean, some construction elements that are coming up were not simple to figure out, but I really wanted it to be a very like meditative potato chippy knit. It's very squishy because it's garter stitch. So I'm excited about that, working on that. I haven't been working on it very much because I'm trying to decide if I want to stop, like how big I want it to be. So anyway, and then this fell over here. But I was talking last time about how I wanted to knit the Sahel top from Breeze by my friend whose name I cannot pronounce, but we'll put on the screen. I just don't want to mispronounce it. Sorry, but yeah, I break part. I cast it on. I had tried to do it in the Lino Muka, which I showed before, and I ended up swatching a few times in stockinette, couldn't really get gauge, and then swatched in the stitch pattern. It just like wasn't, the fabric just wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't looking how I wanted. I did actually end up selling that yarn that I had when I went to Berlin to the Making Stories party to Sarah. Hi Sarah, if you're watching. And that's just perfect because I'm just too loose of a knitter, and I think I just couldn't get gauge with that yarn kind of at all. So I decided to knit it out of the original yarn, and actually also the original color. So that is what I'm doing. So this is the front, and this is what I have so far. It's gorgeous. I really enjoy working on it. And yeah, it's going very slow. So this is a patience project because I'm knitting it. I did go down needle size. I'm knitting it on US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles, so a garment. So it's pretty slow going, and it's memorizable. It's certainly memorizable. It's a 4-row repeat once you get into this like chevron section, but you have to pay attention. Yeah, you just have to pay attention to know, because this is just like knits and purls, but you have to know, like, I don't know, you just have to pay attention kind of. So it's not something that I love to knit on if I'm like knitting socially, if that makes sense. So yeah, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I really like the yarn. So this is Lacquer Yarns Lioness blend, which is a worsted spun. This is the natural color Moonstone, and it's 50% Falklands wool and 50% linen, and it's really, really nice. So yeah, I have no idea when I'm going to finish this. It might not be summer anymore, but honestly in this heat I wouldn't want to wear anything with wool in it. But it's not extremely warm, so I think it's the kind of thing that you could definitely wear in more transitional weather. So anyway, we'll see when I get that done, but I've been working on that and I love it. Love it. So that's another whip. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for what I've been working on knitting wise. So I'll move on to sewing. I have kind of been doing, well, not really recently, but after I last spoke to you, I went on like the sewing binge and was just obsessed and did a ton of sewing at once. So I kind of have gotten a lot done. I'm not going to show you everything, but anyway, I'll show you what I'm wearing, of course, which is the Lilu dress by Tilly and the Buttons. This was mostly completed last time, but it is obviously finished now. And this fabric, I don't know, I bought it at Karstadt, which is one of our department stores here. So I don't know where it came from, what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's a cotton, it's a lighter weight cotton, it's really nice. So yeah, with this fixed lens, it's a little bit hard for me to show you. I'll pop in a picture too. The only mod I made was I added pockets in the side seams, which is super easy to do. Some box pleats up here, which I never done before. And also the zipper I have, it was supposed to be invisible, but it's a visible zipper. Yeah, which I kind of did on accident, but I don't care. I think I was just like focusing on getting the right color in the store, and I didn't notice whether it was visible or invisible, and then I was trying to put it in with my invisible zipper foot, and it just like wouldn't zip. After that, it kept getting stuck, and I was like, what is the problem? And then I was like, oh, it's not an invisible zipper. In a moment. But yeah, I did mention this on Instagram when I put it up. I like it, but I don't really love it for me. I think it's like a combination of the fabric and pattern that is just a little girlier. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just a little bit like more feminine than what I typically feel comfortable in, if that makes any sense. But I'll be honest, it is growing on me a little bit. I also did wish I made it longer, so I'm going to stick with it for now, and I'll kind of see how I feel. And if I'm not wearing it a lot, which honestly I haven't really been, what I'm going to consider is taking it apart at the waist and keeping the bodice, adding a different skirt, or keeping the skirt, adding a different bodice, maybe like just pairing it with a solid color of some sort to sort of break it up a little bit. I think that would be kind of more me. And then, I mean, I could make 2 dresses out of it, or I'm not really sure that I would want that. So maybe I would give the other half to someone else, and they can make the rest of the dress. I don't know. But I think I mentioned this is the Lilu dress from Tilly and the Buttons. It is in the first book, which is Love It for Stitch. So yeah. But I like it. I used just like a gray lining that was actually a bed sheet that I bought at the flea market, just to have like some cheap fabric to do that with. And yeah, the only thing I'm not sure what happened, I remember when I was sewing it here that I didn't quite catch everything because there were a few layers with the linings and everything. So I did some hand stitching, and you can kind of see that there's like, the fabric is pulling this way, like there's a diagonal line across. And I don't really know why. Also on the inside I had to hand stitch the lining down, so maybe I pulled something somehow when I did that. I'm not sure. So it kind of annoys me, to be honest. Probably no one else would notice, but I might try to fix that somehow eventually. Anyway, that's a Lulu dress. I don't think I had gone into my Ogden cami obsession yet when last we spoke. I've made 3 of them and have had to or have to perform surgery on 2. One of them is in here actually. I made out of the leftover fabric from my Betty dress, and it turned out great, except I put it in the washing machine, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's especially bad on this one. It like shredded the fabric on the what is this? A strap, on the straps. So, I mean, that should be a pretty easy fix. I really, really Tetrised the heck out of the fabric to get this, but I do have enough to make the straps. I mean, they're really small. So you can even see here, like from the lining, it's like coming apart. I don't know. This fabric has been kind of difficult to work with. It's beautiful, but like, I don't know if it's the highest quality. So I guess I have to hand wash this from now on, but I'm also, the pattern just has you straight stitch these and then turn them inside out, and I think I'm definitely gonna zigzag them because that sucks. So I have to fix that. I just haven't felt like it, especially because one of my other ones, which I didn't bring them all over here, but I made another one out of like a pale pink viscose that I loved, and I wore it once, and then I was getting ready to go to an audition, and I was ironing it at 5 in the morning, and the previous day I'd been working on something with linen, and the iron was still on the linen setting, and I burned a hole in it, you guys. So upset. So there was like a huge hole on, I think, the back panel. So I like took the whole thing apart and had to Tetris it back together. It doesn't look as tidy the second time, especially because some of the like smaller like edges and stuff like that were kind of hard to get back in there, because obviously that isn't the construction to have the whole thing put together and then just like put in the back. So, but it worked. I mean, it worked, it's fine. It's just not as perfect as it was before. And then I made another one out of this like black linen, I think it's a linen cotton blend. I don't know, it was kind of, shopping for fabric in Germany is just different, you guys. So, because I'm sewing something else out of this, but it's the same fabric. Again, I don't have it over here. I wore it the other day and like sweated a lot in it, so it's in the wash. But I'll just transition to this, although this is a work in progress. This looks crazy right now. But this is going to be a jumpsuit from the Roberts collection from Marilla Walker. So, I mean, you can't really see it, but here's the front. It's going to button down, and then it has only the back pants on. So, I mean, you can't really see that, you guys. But I've seen some versions of this in a black linen, and I got really excited. But it has all of these, I don't remember, oh, flat felled seams, I think they're called, which are interesting to do. They take a bit more time, but the finish on them is like really professional looking. So I'm enjoying doing that. This has been on hold for a little bit. Again, it's like too hot for me to consider even something in linen that has like pants. I just can't do it. And another thing I finished was this dress, which is it's a jersey dress. It's called the Sunny dress, but it's also a t-shirt by I think it's the Friday Pattern Company. But I like it. I really like this fabric, but I made too small of a size, and it's really form-fitting on me, and it's kind of short, and there's nothing inappropriate about it, but I'm not at all comfortable wearing something that is that form-fitting, especially like all the way. It's kind of just like a tube, you know, and I just don't feel comfortable in it. I do like that it has this curved hem. You can kind of see that at the side. probably. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it off and make it into a t-shirt. That's all. And then if I make the dress again, which I might do, I'll just maybe go like 2 sizes up so that it's less fitted. So, lesson learned. I will be honest, I did not check the measurements on that. I just like cut in and did it. A lot of, which you shouldn't do, you should always check the measurements. Again, lesson learned. I just find that most patterns, their smallest size, sometimes is even a little bit too big for me. Or in some cases way too big for me, so I usually just always go for the smallest size, but that was stupid in this case. Oh, something in my nose, like fuzz or something. Cat hair, I don't know. Got it. And then my other work in progress, it's not, I haven't done very much on it yet, but I'm sewing a hinterland dress, which is a new pattern by Sew Liberated, and yeah. So I'm doing in this like chambray fabric, I'm going to do the sleeveless version, so it buttons down here and then has a skirt. So yeah, I'm working on that. I would love to get this finished for when I go to Spain in a few days, but I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see. And then I bought this when I was in the States, just at Joann's, my mom and I went. And then I also bought this fabric to make another one, probably a 3/4 sleeve one. I love this fabric so much. It's really a beautiful linen. Yeah, and this color is just to die for. I think I bought way too much. I had a lot left over of the chambray. Yeah, I think she only tells you the fabric amounts if you're doing it with sleeves or not, but there are also 2 different skirt lengths. Although I cut my fabric for that in the middle because the longer one was like, I think too long and the shorter one was too short, so I sort of like, it had the 2 lines and I just kind of split the difference and cut my fabric there. So I did have a lot left over, but what are you gonna do? I could always give it to someone else, use it for something else. We'll see. So that is it for sewing and knitting and stuff. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I haven't acquired that many things. I got some new like stitch markers and progress keepers when I was in the States. I got this little shark. I do want to show this. I hope you can see it. This little shark from Hannah of the Corner of Craft, because you guys know I love sharks. So I had to order that from her. Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of knitting related. Those of you who follow me on Instagram probably saw that this past weekend I did a fundraiser for the National Eating Disorder Association. So any and all sales of all of my patterns for that weekend, 100% of the proceeds went to that cause. And the reason I did that was that I lost one of my very, very best friends and favorite humans on earth 5 years ago to suicide, and he struggled for his whole life with an eating disorder and with that anxiety and depression and all of that kind of stuff. And he was very passionate about raising awareness, especially as a straight man. A lot of people think it's like something that teenage girls have exclusively, and that is just not true at all. And yeah, I mean, he was a starving artist too. He was a brilliant singer-songwriter, and he did a lot of fundraisers where he donated all of the proceeds. And it was a tough weekend because it was the 5-year anniversary of his death, and I don't know, I just had the idea that I should do that, and I'm really, really glad that I did, and I'm really glad that so many of you joined in, so thank you so very much. I was really overwhelmed by the response. So we raised 161 euros, which was $186, and that's a lot in one weekend just for my little pattern sale. So thank you guys so much. I donated in his already in his name, and I put the copy of the receipt up on my Instagram stories, and I think I'll put that in my highlights for a while just so everyone transparency. And yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because I'm sure that a lot of you donated to that, and I just want to, again, thank you so much. Yeah, it's, you know, it was a good way to honor my friend, and I mean, I have to say, like, just selfishly, it really made that whole weekend easier. That I had something really positive to focus on, that I just felt like my phone dinging all the time because all these orders were coming through my email, and I got a lot of messages from you guys who maybe struggle with an eating disorder or know someone who does, and this organization does a lot of really, really, really good work. It's an American organization to raise awareness, but also to provide resources to people who don't have them. And a lot of people feel like they don't have resources because it is, I would argue, one of the most stigmatized mental disorders that there is, and it's certainly the most deadly. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys so much because that meant the world to me, and it also meant a lot to his parents. When I filled out the donation form, it asks for like an address to send the notification. So his parents are amazing, super lovely people. So I wrote to his dad and I said, oh, hey, you know, the knitters raised some money and I'm wondering if I should send this notification to you. And I had also posted about it on my Facebook, so he had seen it already, and he just extending thanks also from Matt's family. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for that. And yeah, so other than that, life, wow. It's been a while, but just to briefly summarize, as you will have seen in the intro, I did go home to Chicago for 2 weeks. It was too short, but it was totally lovely to be home. And yeah, I love Chicago so much. And then, you know, I've been back for a while, and I also put some footage in of a recent hike that I went on last Monday with my roommate and also my friend Max from college, who was in Europe, and he stopped by for a couple days for a visit, so that was super, super fun. The other day, I wanted a date, actually. And my date was biking 60 kilometers round trip, which is 40 miles, to Bayern, which is another Bundesland, which is like kind of like another state or another region in Germany, then going and swimming in a lake, and that was really intense. So even despite this crazy, crazy heat, I'm trying to get outside and do some stuff. Yeah, and tomorrow is my visa appointment, which I send good vibes, because it's always terrifying going there to like the immigration office, but it's especially scary this time because my employment situation is like kind of non-existent. Kind of. I have some freelance work, but they don't usually like count that. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm more stressed about it than actually I'm like consciously realizing, but I think I'm prepared. Just keep your fingers crossed. It should be fine. I don't think they're going to deport me. Anyway, that's happening. And then on Thursday, I'm going to Barcelona, and I have not even thought about that. I've just been like blinders on, getting ready for this appointment. But I'm really excited. I've never been to Spain, and only the Madrid airport, frantically running through it once. And yeah, so my friend Jason is going to be there for the first weekend, and then I'm staying a few days after by myself, just because I felt like a weekend was not long enough for me to really explore. So that will be nice. I mean, it's scary going on kind of a vacation while unemployed, but at the same time, I have the time, so, you know, time is valuable too. So, yes, I'm doing that, and yeah, just starting to gear up for hopefully some auditions coming down the pike soon. The theaters are starting to open again, like this week, so keep your fingers crossed for all of that. But yeah, you know, some crafting thrown in there, trying to enjoy life, have a bit more of a social life. Get out more, do more things, and just enjoy the time and not be stressed about it. So yes, that's pretty much it for me, guys. So thank you so very much for coming and watching today, And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think that's it. So anyway, thank you guys for being with me. It was fun to be back to recording, and I will talk to you all very soon. Okay, take care. Bye!